What's up, y'all? Welcome back to another episode of the Prevail with Justice podcast. Whew, y'all ready to get into this? Get your notebooks, get you something to drink. All right, we're going to get to the nitty gritty. So, the title of this episode is Rewriting the Narrative. Rewriting the Narrative. And of course, you're probably thinking, what do you mean by that? Look no further, I'm about to tell you. Um, so, I'm going to share a dream that I had recently. And um, in the dream, I was in the tub in my childhood home, and there was someone in there with me, and we were sitting in the tub, we were talking, and someone came in and began to bathe me. As I'm experiencing the dream, I'm thinking, like, this is really weird, but whatever, I stay in the dream. So they began to bathe me. The rag was white, and I could not see the person that was bathing me, and it wasn't the person that was in the tub with me, but the person was like bathing me, and they left to bathe me, and they pulled the curtain, like they closed the curtain back, right? And so I turned around to turn the water on, and the person was still there in the tub. I thought they would have left, due to the the bath taking place. But I turned around and I said, "What are you still doing here?" And they said, "You thought I was gonna leave?" So I didn't say anything back. I just turned the water on and proceeded to like rinse myself off as well as them, because they were there like during the whole process of the bath. So whatever is like, in the tub, like it's on both of us, right? Um, but as we're in the tub, we're rinsing off, there's a person that came in. It was a family member came into the room. I could see their shadow like beyond the curtain, but they came in, they were at the sink, and they left back out. So at this point, the person that gave me the bath comes back in and like pulls the curtain back just a little bit to where I can see the doorway. But I can't, like, my body can't be seen and the other person can't be seen, but I can see the doorway. And as the family member is walking out, they throw note cards on the floor, um, that had writing on it, but the writing was not legible because there was water damage from the cleaning that took place. And then I woke up from the dream. And I thought it was so odd, but I kept thinking about it all day, and I remembered it as though I had experienced it. I had experienced it in real life. So with that being said, if you follow me on social media platforms at this point, you have probably already seen the reel that I put out, which is what I'm going to expound on today, right? And that leads me to rewriting the narrative. And I kind of want to talk through some themes that I saw in that dream that were so powerful to me as I am on this journey of waiting, um, for more than one thing. But like this particular dream speaks to, um, it speaks to marriage, it speaks to love, it speaks to partnership, it speaks to covenant, right? As I'm waiting, I'm being prepared. You're single for preparation. In the last episode, we discussed routines and discipline as a form of preparation. So this is a part of that, right? Like getting our mind, body, and spirit right. Um, Digging up some of those old things and rewriting the narrative. So um first thing that stood out to me in this dream was someone bathing me, and it was a white rag. And I was reminded that Christ washes his bride. Jesus. Christ washes his bride by water and word to present her whole. Being washed with water and word, I couldn't see the person. And I know for a fact in this season, I am being reparented by God. And that may sound cliche. If you get it, you get it. If you don't, I highly encourage you to develop a prayer life. And the things that you would normally go to your parents or people about advice, whatever, I challenge you to go to God about it first. I challenge you to go to God about it first and give it a few days before you bring it up to someone else. Go to God about it first. And when I saw the white rag, I immediately knew it was purity, it was cleansing, sanctification. And I immediately was like, okay, this is God reparenting me. This is God purifying me, cleaning me, right? But there was someone else in the tub with me. And I was like, okay, like this is a shared experience. And we were both rinsed, we were both washed. And so there's like a witness there, but also I expected them to be gone. And they said, you thought I was going to leave. I did. And so to me, that says that I have a subconscious belief that when I'm being cleaned, when I'm being transformed, companions or people are going to leave during the process. But it was so beautiful to me that the person was still there and was a part of the cleansing with me, because that meant that the connection was purified and washed. The connection was ordained, the connection was strong, and it reminded me that covenant love is not afraid of intimacy or transformation. It stays present through the cleansing. And that's a part of the promise that I'm waiting to be fulfilled, is that covenant promise. But as I'm experiencing this covenant cleansing, there's a family member that comes and drops cards. Like I could see the words, the handwriting. I couldn't read it because there was water damage, right? So I was like, God, what was that? And immediately I felt like generational patterns. I felt like subconscious beliefs, or maybe things that were handed down, or ways of being that happened in childhood that may not be the truth of where you're going, that may not be the truth for who you're meant to be in the life that you're meant to live, right? And that is no knock to anybody. We're all experiencing life for the first time. However, there may be words, there may be beliefs, there may be narratives that you inherited from family members, um that may be fragmented, that can't go where you're going. But when you allow yourself to be reparented and to be washed and to be purified and to go through this process of pruning and refinement, those words can't go with you. Those words are going to be cleansed, they're going to be washed away, right? We don't have to live by unreadable or broken words, especially when God gives us clarity and truth to build on. Like, what? Like that was just so powerful, so amazing, so beautiful to me that I don't have to live by those things. I don't have to live by those words. I don't have to move forward expecting someone to leave during my transformation, during my cleansing. They're in it too. Like they're being cleansed too. They're being purified too. And it's just beautiful to like see that. It was beautiful to see that even though it was a dream, like I know that God's not gonna show me anything that He's not meaning to get to me. So being that there was someone that stayed and they said, you thought I was gonna leave? Yes, actually, yeah, because that is a part of the old narrative. So with that being said, I was inspired to turn the lessons from that dream into a practice, right? So I couldn't read the cards that were on the floor. There was water damage. The cleansing wipes out those old narratives, right? But I asked myself, I'm like, okay, you thought I was going to leave. The person stayed. What are my new beliefs? What is my new narrative? What what does a covenant with God look like? And how can I make that my new normal for love? How can I make that my new normal for my legacy, for my bloodline? How can I make that the new normal from not just my nervous system, but that of like the husband that I know is coming? How can I make that the narrative for me, for my life to live by, to lead by? And so I created a new one, right? I wrote down what I believed would have been legible on those water damaged cards. And I wrote them down, things that I used to believe, things that part of me may still be holding on to, as like somebody's gonna leave because I'm transforming, like somebody's gonna leave because I'm growing, like somebody is going to try and dim me because I'm growing, even though I'm trying to grow with them as well, right? Those are subconscious beliefs. Those are old narratives that love may be an obligation, that family is obligatory, maybe not even joyful. Like, not everybody comes from this joyful, loving, like, home or whatever the case, right? So just take your own experiences in life and ask yourself, what is the old narrative? Does it work for me? 9 times out of 10, you're going to find at least one thing that does not work for you. And now we're going to move to the next part, which I also find so beautiful. The cleansing gives us a clean slate, right? Where there were once words on the note cards, there was smudges. I couldn't even read it. But imagine if the water kept coming. It would have been a blank note card, no ink, no lines, no words, no anything. And then that would have been a clean slate for me to write on. So in the reel, I literally went and got some note cards and I rewrote the narrative. I wrote the narrative that I want to believe. I wrote new words that speak to the covenant that I believe is coming. It speaks to God's word. It speaks to the destiny that I've seen in my dreams, that I've seen in my visions, that I've seen in my alone time, the whispers that I've heard in my private time with God. Like, it's a prophetic act. It's reverse form of manifestation, if that makes sense. It's rewriting the narrative of the belief. What I once believed no longer is not going to work where I'm going. And we're in this season of preparation right now, right? We're getting prepared for this promise. We're working on something. We're building this ark. But the exterior of the ark is simple, but what does it look like on the inside? Right? Like, we're metaphorically speaking of an ark. If all of these animals are going to get there, how are we going to keep them separated? How are we going to separate the humans from the animals? How are we going to separate the birds from, like, the earth animals? Like, all of these different things, right? The reptiles from the elephants. Like, we have to have compartments. We have to have more intricate detailing on the inside, and our beings are no different. Yes, we can focus on how we appear in this outside, but what is our heart posture? What is our heart position like? What does it look like inside of it? And so, as we're rewriting these narratives, think about the promise. Is your heart postured to receive the promise? Is your heart healthy to carry a love as great as what you want to experience? Is your heart prepared for the longevity of marriage, not just the moment of a wedding, but a marriage? Is your heart postured for legacy? What stories have you believed that didn't even work for you that you're still living by? We got to deal with that. We got to get to the root of it. We have to repot ourselves. We got to be in a different environment. But that environment is internal. We got to change it. We got to change the language. So if you once believed that you had to perform, love was earned, maybe you're always doing something. Maybe you're the person that can't sit down when you go to the function. I want to challenge you to sit down for once. You were invited for a reason. You don't always have to be of service. And I say that because maybe it's me. Anytime I go somewhere, I always want to be of service. It's a love language. But it came from the root of believing that I had to perform to be loved. Now I don't believe that. I can go in the room and sit down because I was invited. And I can kick my legs up and put my feet up, and I can chill when I walk in the room. But I serve because that is a form of love for me. That is a love language. I like to do things for people. I like to show up for people. But the old narrative said you don't show up. The old narrative said you need to perform. The old narrative said love is earned, not given. It's not true. That's not true at all. Look at your friendships. Is love earned? Or do you just love them because of how you feel around them? Do you love them because of the value that they add to your life, just because of the essence of who they are? You love them. Love is everywhere. And I'm a big ball of love. Like, I just am. It just makes me happy. Like, all forms of love, okay? It just makes me happy. I love it. And I love to give love. I love to receive love. I love the exchange of love in every single capacity possible. I love it. It just makes me feel good. It makes me happy. It makes me feel alive. But the old narrative said that love is stifling. It said that love is a demand. It said that love has to be earned. Joy, happiness has to be earned. It's not true. So you are valued. You are worthy. And those old words do not have to stay with you. So I want to challenge you to do this practice that I did in this video, or in the video that I've already released. I want you to take some note cards, however many you want, and I want you to write down the old narrative. And you may ask yourself, like, oh, how do I figure out what that is? What did the inner child experience that hurt them? What did the inner child that lives within you need? What did the inner child within you need? What does the inner child say now? When someone tries to love you, when someone tries to show up and you feel resistance, what is that? We got to start asking questions. What is that? Hmm? Once you figure out what that is, and take your time with this practice, right? Like, if you're in therapy, I want you to bring it to your next therapy session. If you are just a regular person, I want you to sit with it. It takes time to be able to sift through all of this and get to the root. But I want you to start asking the question, what is the old narrative, right? Maybe it's an ongoing list in your phone. That's how it started for me. It was an ongoing list in my phone, but this dream brought it to the forefront for me and made it a practice, because what I had not done was I hadn't rewritten the narrative. So when you don't rewash it, when you don't rewrite it, the washing has given you a clean slate, but what do you now believe? So now we're going to wash out those old beliefs. You can tear up the old beliefs. You can actually like pour water on them. You can put them in a tub. You can put them in a bowl of water. Whatever it is that you want to do that represents that cleansing for you. I want you to do that thing. And then I want you to get a fresh set of cards. Or maybe you let those dry. But I want you to get some fresh cards, and I want you to write the new narrative, because the old one has been washed away. All right. And this is an act of you reclaiming your voice, reclaiming your story. You're taking hold of the reins of your life, and you are steering in the direction that you want to see yourself go into. Here on this podcast, we discuss all things life and purpose, but we discuss it not to be victims, but to be victors. Once you know better, you can do better. And you didn't ask to be here, but one thing you will do is play your cards. And I don't know about you, but I ain't gonna be on no losing team. It just doesn't work. It's not a good look. Okay. I don't like it. I don't like how it feels. Unsubscribe. I'm good. I'm not on a losing team. It doesn't work for me. So if you're watching this podcast, it doesn't work for you either. And it is time for us to get up. It is time for us to throw away the old narratives, the old generational beliefs, the old generational patterns, maybe the old words. Maybe you're the first person, maybe you aspire to marriage and you're the first person in your family that wants to be married. But every time you get in a relationship that works for you, you go tell your family members, and maybe they're imparting fear into your mind. Maybe they're imparting unworthiness into your mind. That is a reflection of them. And it is time for you to pick up the pen and rewrite your own narrative. You are worthy of love. You are worthy of a long lasting marriage. You are worthy of unity. You are worthy of partnership. You are worthy of kingdom, divine, sacred union. You are worthy of a love that is joyful, that makes you happy. You are worthy of a love that sounds like the birds chirping, huh? You are worthy of a love that allows you to bloom, that is like sunlight, that waters you, that fertilizes your very being. You deserve that. And maybe you didn't experience that growing up, but it is time to rewrite the narrative and create new beliefs that support and sustain where you are going. We have the authority to replace the blurred words of the past with new covenant truths that align with God's word and our destiny. Okay. I just wanted to share that. I really hope that it is helpful to someone. It's time for you to rewrite the narrative, because the promise is coming. and you need to be ready. You need to be ready. You need to have addressed those old wounds and re-establish the narrative so that you can accept this beautiful love, this beautiful abundance, this beautiful wealth that is coming for you, that is already on its way to you. But when it meets you, are you going to be in motion? When it meets you, are you going to have a new narrative? When it meets you, are you going to be able to receive it? I don't want you to miss this train, friend. So get to writing, get to studying, get to working, get in that therapy chair. All right. Get on that Zoom. We got work to do. All right. I love you guys. And as always, until the next time, where the spirit guides, the mind creates. And where the mind goes, the body follows. I'll catch you in the next episode. Bye.